Welcome back to the Barn Kitchen. As I promised earlier in the last week, today we're going to be making pasta sauce. I use this for spaghetti, lasagna. Sometimes I add a little bit of it to my chili. It gives it a really nice flavor along with the spiciness. Anything that calls for a tomato-based pasta sauce, you could use this for. So let's get started. I've already peeled, let me tip this a minute, peeled and quartered my tomatoes. I did that several days ago, and I had them sitting in the refrigerator to where the water was coming off of them, and I poured that water out into the sink this morning. That way it'll get thicker and I won't have to work with it so long. So like I said, I've got those ready. I went ahead and I processed and diced 5 onions, which I'm going to add to this. And those are just a yellow basic cooking onion. Then I've got 5 green peppers. I took a combination of green, red, and yellow. And this is all from my garden, by the way. The tomatoes, the onions, the peppers. Got 5 green peppers. Then I've got 10 cloves of garlic, which I went ahead and processed, again from my garden. And then I'm going to add some tomato paste, just to give it a little extra body and help thicken it up when we start cooking it down. So this is 1 large can of tomato paste. And I will put this recipe down below in the comments so you could follow it if you wish without having to watch the video again. But then one tomato paste. Okay, now to this I'm going to add 2/3 of a cup of packed brown sugar, 1/4 a cup of salt, I'm going to add 1/4 a cup of soy, actually this is a new bottle, I got to take off the little seal here. They make these things child-proof, they're actually old lady proof too. So 1/2 cup of soy. Then I want 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And you're thinking this is crazy, but I tell you what, it really, really pops the flavor. My husband's grandmother used to make spaghetti sauce, and she always put Worcestershire in it. 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire. And then we want 3 tablespoons of dried oregano. Now this is not from my garden, and I want you to see that. Isn't that kind of pathetic looking? But anyway, 3 tablespoons of oregano. And then we want 3 tablespoons of basil also. And now this is from the garden. Look at that beautiful color. It's fresh, smells wonderful. So 3 tablespoons and sweet basil. You can see it laying there on top of the store-bought, and it's just no comparison. Then we're gonna throw in about 3 bay leaves. Again, from the store. They look like dried oak leaves. And that is it. We're gonna get this all stirred together. Let me get a bigger spoon here. And then I'm going to grab my blender I have a large blender so I can puree all of this together, and it'll make a nice thick liquid. But stir that up, and basically what's going to happen now is it's going to cook for several hours, maybe not that long. We'll just see how it thickens up. Get that stirred in there. Sorry if that's loud. Let me get the blender and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is actually a commercial outfit I bought a long time ago, and I love it. This is the only thing I use it for, is stuff like this. But it is going to suddenly we have sauce. And I realized after I started this, I probably shouldn't have put the bay leaf in because it's going to get pulverized, but oh well, we'll see if we can find it later. Set that off to the side, and this is ready to go to the stove. Now this is going to be pressure canned, but it's got to get cooking. And here in the back, I have just set the sauce. I've got my lids. I need to start warming. And then I have my pressure cooker. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Basically, this just needs to cook for a couple of hours, thicken up if it needs any, and then we will jar it up and get it processed. It's already pretty thick. And also you want to taste it as you're doing this, just to make sure that it's what you want. Anyway, let's let this cook for a little bit, and I'll be back to keep you posted on where we're at as far as jarring it up. I just pulled the sauce from the stove. It's cooked for 2.5 hours, and it's nice and thick. It's cooked down about 1/4, and I don't really want it to cook down any more than that. So I'm ready to start jarring it up. I've got my jars that are sanitized and hot. Got my little jar siphon thing. I don't know what you call it. Got my lids, and the pressure cooker is warming up. So let's go ahead and fill these and get it going. And I'm going to tilt this down so you can see what I'm doing. And to each jar, I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of citric acid. I probably don't need it because these are heirloom tomatoes that I've grown. But to be safe, I want to make sure that I've got the proper acidity. And I'm doing quart jars. You could do this in a boiling water bath, but I just really like my pressure cooker. I feel much safer with it. Oh, I kind of dribbled some there. And I just prefer to do it. Anyway, and I've tasted this a couple times and it is really good. I'm almost tempted to save some out tonight and have spaghetti. Now you want to leave a 1-inch headspace on this, and that's very important. You do not want to overfill your jars. So I've got a 1-inch there, and I go on to the next. It's really rich and flavorful. This beats anything you're going to get out of a jar at the store, with nearly all homegrown ingredients. I'm going to fill this one up, and then we'll get that other one capped and into the processor, so I don't bore you with this whole process of watching me fill jars. 1-inch headspace. Okay, set that off to this jar. Now I have a small dish with vinegar in it. Actually, let's put the citric acid in it first, in case I would swap it around the edge. So like I said, a half a teaspoon per quart. Just put it right there. There. And now I'm going to take my cloth dipped in vinegar and just run around the rim of that jar and make sure there's nothing there that would interfere with the seal. The jars are hot, hot, hot. Now, I've got my degasser, and you can still go in there, but with this being all liquid, there's not much of a chance of there being air pockets, but just to be safe. And then we want to grab a lid for both of them and a ring, and you're going to go finger tight only. Hot, hot, hot. And they are ready to go into the pressure cooker. My pressure cooker will do 14 quarts, which is how many jars I've prepared. I'm not for sure I'll end up with that many, but we will see. So let me get the rest of these, and then we will move on to getting the pressure cooker going. Got the jars all filled. I ended up with 12, didn't make 14. Actually 12 and a little extra, and I'm just gonna take this, put it in the refrigerator and take it up to the house. So I'm ready to put my lid and get the pressure cooker going. And if you've watched any of my videos about the pressure cooker, you'll know that I have an All-American and it requires oil around the rim, this rim here, because there is no rubber seal like so in many of them. And I gotta say something too. Ever since I've started chemo, I'm having trouble with my words. Like a minute ago, I couldn't remember what the funnel was called that I said on my jar. So please excuse that. I'm trying the best I can, but something about people talk about the chemo brain, and I'm attesting to it. It is true. So anyway, we're gonna put oil on the rim and just go around. I put it on a paper towel, and I'm using olive oil because that's what I've got down here handy. But you just want to make it lubricated is more or less what it is for. And then we're going to take our lid and put it on the cooker. And it just sits like so. I'm going to spin this around a little bit. It's got a little hook here that once you set it down, you want to rotate it so it catches underneath that lip. And then what you do is just take alternating handles and bring them up and tighten them so that the lid sets even. You want this space between the lid and the bottom to be the same all the way around. So I just eyeball it as best I can and go around and tighten them. And then once that is done, you get them on there. Look at that seal, looks pretty good. We're going to turn up our heat, they're all tight, until we get a steady rise of steam coming through this nipple right here. So once it starts steaming, which it looks like it is, yeah, we need 10 continuous minutes of solid steam. That's going to get rid of the extra oxygen that's in the tank. At that point, we take our weighted gauge and we will set it on that same nipple. And for me, I'm going to use 15 pounds of pressure. So we're just going to watch this and let it go for 10 minutes. And then I'll go on to the next step. It's been 10 minutes, so I'm going to put my weighted gauge on now. I said it's going on at 15 pounds. And we're going to process for 25 minutes from the time that this starts jiggling, which will be when it reaches pressure. So now we just wait, watch it till it gets up to 15 pounds of pressure. Then this will start jiggling. Then we set our timer for 25 minutes. We are coming up to pressure right now, just under 15, and getting ready for our first jiggle. You can hear the pressure rising. There you go. That's what you're looking for. Once that starts, you set your timer for 25 minutes. Adjust your heat so that you maintain that pressure. You don't want this going out non-stop. It should jiggle at least 4 times in a minute. So I'm going to adjust the flame just a little bit. But my timer has started now as 25 minutes for the course. The timer just went off for our 25 minutes. So basically, the only thing I'm going to do is turn the stove off, and we're going to leave it alone until that dial comes back down to 0, which won't be too long. Usually takes about an hour. But basically, all we do now is let it cool down. We'll come down, take the lid off, and then get the jars out so they can cool for 24 hours. And then after 24 hours, you want to check your seals. Remove your rims and check your seals. It's 5 o'clock here, a little after 5. I've got to get to the main house and get dinner ready. Dear hubby will be home soon. So I'm just turning the stove off and we're going to walk away. We have 0 on our pressure gauge. I've taken off the weight, and now it's time to open up the pressure cooker and get the jars out. It is hot. When you take this lid off, you want to make sure and open it away from your face, because there is a lot of heat in there. Okay. So now let's get the jars out and let them cool. Looks like most of them are already sealed. Cool. So there we have it. 12 jars of pasta sauce. We're going to leave these sit now for 24 hours. And then we will remove the rims, check the seals, wipe the jars down, and take them to the main house and put in the pantry. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something. Please subscribe if you have. The next video I'm going to do is going to be jalapeno jam, which I did today. These are cooling. I didn't share that with you, but I'm going to. These are jalapeno jelly. It's great with cream cheese and crackers. I'll do another one here in a couple days because I've got tons of jalapenos. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and have a wonderful day.